So hello and welcome to another episode of TopTenz. I'm your host, Karl Smallwood, and today we're talking about 10 times nature was almost like nah to humanity. And as with all of our videos here on TopTenz, this one is based on an original article submitted to us by a member of our handsome writing team. This one being Benjamin Falbo. Follow them on social media if links have been provided to us. Otherwise, just scream the name out of your window and they'll hear it maybe. I don't know. Anyway. Nature is a funny thing in that it can provide for us just as easily as it can lead to our total annihilation. From extinction events to tsunamis to volcanic eruptions, Mother Nature has proven to be far deadlier than Roland Emmerich could ever possibly imagine. But given the rampant amounts of these events that have happened here on Earth, it's honestly amazing that we're even still here today. With that in mind, these are 10 times that humanity was nearly wiped out by events far beyond our own control. Number 10. The 1811-1812 New Madrid earthquakes. When it comes to natural disasters, earthquakes are definitely high ranking for the most dangerous and unpredictable. You know, they're under the ground, they're hard to see. Case in point, the New Madrid earthquakes that occurred in Missouri in the years 1811 and 1812. Per the United States Geological Survey, there were a total of 3 earthquakes that devastated the region over the course of 3 months. These rapid-fire earthquakes, rapid fire here being a relative term, given that earthquakes don't normally happen 3 times in the space of 3 months, are still regarded as some of the most significant ever recorded in North America, even having a lasting effect on the area's geography as a whole. When the first quake kicked off in December 1811, the shocks only grew in magnitude, with the most powerful arriving on January 23rd, 1812. Given the destructive power of the seismic activity, it was felt from the Great Lakes to the very Gulf of Mexico, causing widespread destruction. Not only that, but they were so powerful they created new lakes and dramatically changed the course of the Mississippi River. Those quakes were so powerful that the tremors that follow persisted for months, with aftershocks still being felt years later. It was because of the 1811-1812 New Madrid earthquakes that research into earthquakes was taken far more seriously for the sake of preparedness and monitoring in the United States. Yeah. You should probably maybe try and figure out when the Earth is about to literally quake beneath your feet. Number 9. The KPG extinction event. Let's discuss arguably the Earth's biggest mass extinction event, that being the KPG extinction event, often referred to as the KT extinction event, which occurred close to 66 million years ago today. If you're currently thinking, like, well, how come I've never heard of this? It's perhaps better known as the thing that killed the dinosaurs. As noted by, among other sources, Britannica, the event is commonly accepted to have been caused by the impact of a gigantic asteroid colliding with the Earth's surface. After crashing into what is now known as the Mexican Yucatan Peninsula, the impact not only caused massive wildfires and tsunamis, but also released ample debris into the atmosphere. This scattered debris resulted in a quasi-nuclear winter, which, after blocking out the sun, resulted in reduced temperatures and the death of near enough all plant life on Earth, and subsequently the dinosaurs. And something I learned quite recently, maybe people in the comments let us know if you thought this, is that a number of people thought like the meteorite impact killed all the dinosaurs by like hitting all of the dinosaurs at once. Not that it just caused like lasting ecological effects that like just led to their slow languishing like death. Alternately, there's like one of my favourite images on the internet, which I hope the editor can put in on screen here, which is like the one people keep sending to flat earth groups of like the meteorite hitting the edge and all the dinosaurs flying off into space. I love that one. But as mentioned previously, the biggest casualty to this event was, of course, the dinosaurs, which, you know, were killed by the meteorite, not Arnold Schwarzenegger. And nowadays, all we have to really remember these once mighty creatures is their fossilized remains and the Jurassic Park movies. More importantly, the event still stands as one of the major instances of Earth surviving what could have been a literally world-ending event. And for anyone curious about the acronyms here, KPG refers to the Cretaceous Paleogene, and KT refers to Cretaceous Tertiary. I just didn't say that at first because if I said Cretaceous, you'd have known I was going to make that joke about it killing all the dinosaurs. Number 8. The Toba supervolcano eruption. Nearly 74,000 years ago, the Toba supervolcano eruption rocked what is known to the modern day as Indonesia. Per Communication, Earth and Environment, the volcanic eruption released a staggering 2,800 cubic kilometers of volcanic ash and smoke into the upper atmosphere. Volcanic ash and atmospheric debris seems to be a recurring factor among many extinction or near extinction level events, and this was no exception. Much like with the Cretaceous Paleogene event, a volcanically induced winter covered most of the Earth, massively affecting the ecosystem once again, but this time with a twist. According to the Max Planck Institute, early humans, or Homo sapiens they prefer to be called, were severely affected by these negatively altered conditions, severely reducing the previously existing amounts of them. Unlike with the dinosaurs, however, this near cataclysmic event was not a full extinction of another species, evidenced by the fact that, you're watching this video. Put an F in the comments for all of our Homo sapien ancestors that didn't make it. One could even make the argument that it was the conditions brought on by the Toba supervolcano eruption that resulted in humanity's genetic diversity. It's actually kind of impressive that the Earth was geologically sturdy enough to survive something like this. Same goes for the surviving Homo sapiens as well. While not brought up or discussed as much as the meteorite that killed all the dinosaurs, the Toba supervolcano eruption is another prime example of humanity dodging a pretty massive bullet, this one being shaped like a volcano. Number 7, the 1815 Tambora eruption. During April 1815, Indonesia's Mount Tambora erupted with a force that can only be likened to the wrath of a living god. As explained in the pages of Smithsonian magazine, the eruption sent volcanic ash, smoke and fumes more than 40 kilometers into the air, into the Earth's atmosphere. What followed were destructive bouts of pyroclastic flows, tsunamis and rain comprised of ash and pumice, all of which devastated the nearby areas. However, it didn't end there, as the debris now littering the sky resulted in sizable cooling of the Earth's climate. In 1816, the Earth experienced what is referred to as the year without a summer, causing people's crops to die en masse. This caused massive famine in both North America and Europe, which was then compounded by the ensuing destabilization of the economy and everyday life as well. And it's quite a harsh reminder of just how devastating volcanic eruptions can be, especially for the inhabitants of the planet. Additionally, it's more than a little terrifying to imagine a year without the sun, as well as the aggressive effects that would have on just all daily life. Now, I live in the UK, we go through annually, easy, 15 bottles of sunscreen as a nation. Number 6, the magnetic wandering event. Breaking from meteoric impacts and volcanic cataclysms for a moment, it's time to dive into the magnetic wandering event. It's a curious piece of Earth's history, and one that, once explained, really does make you consider the importance of magnetic shifts. Per information provided by Geoscience World, about 840 million years ago. Hi, so Karl here from the future, or at least the future of when this video was recorded. It turns out that the original author made a slight mistake in the original script, and by slight mistake I mean they were off by about 839.9 million years. And I was meant to say 41 to 42,000 years ago, not 840 million. I don't know how that made it in or how I didn't notice. I guess I was just lost in the moment. Cheers everybody, have a great day. Per information provided by Geoscience World, about 41 to 42,000 years ago, Earth's magnetic field underwent a major change, causing the magnetic poles to begin moving erratically. Magnetic poles are defined as regions of each end of a magnet where the external magnetic field is the strongest. So acting as a force field of sorts, which sounds really cool, Earth's magnetic field mainly protects it against cosmic radiation, but when the poles switch, much like with magnetic wandering event, the shield weakens, which leaves the Earth vulnerable to high energy particles. And with this in mind, recent research has led scientists to theorize that this particular event is very likely a major culprit in the extinction of the Denisovians and Neanderthals. With Earth's magnetic force field in flux, the planet found itself bombarded by cosmic radiation, evident by an increase in carbon-14 levels. These conditions caused an ice sheet to envelop the North Americas, more than likely making conditions quite tough for the population of the time. Professor Christopher Turney of the University of New South Wales even stated, and I quote, "It probably would have seemed like the end of days." Number 5, the 536 AD mystery. So you might well have lived through some tumultuous years in your life, coronavirus, everything that's happened, but just be thankful it wasn't anything like 536 AD. This is one of the more mysterious events on this list, and even today historians and scientists are still debating what exactly happened and what was the cause. However, as noted by the science publication, the most likely cause has been determined to have been, you guessed it, a volcanic eruption. It's always a volcanic eruption. This eruption in question was located either in Iceland or North America, releasing a surplus of debris into the atmosphere. This thick layer of volcanic materials led to a volcanic winter which sent the Earth spiraling into a state of extreme cold and prolonged darkness. This prolonged winter led to crop failures, famine, and widespread starvation, which resulted in not only social unrest, but mass migrations of various populations as well. Given these harsh, volcanically induced conditions, this means it actually has a lot in common with the 1815 Tambora eruption and the Toba supervolcano eruption as well. It also serves as yet another prime example of humanity surviving another twist of fate from Mother Nature, when it could have very nearly been wiped out entirely. Like, just 3 of the things on this list have just been volcanoes deciding, nah, not today. Number 4, the 1908 Tunguska event. In the year 1908, Siberia experienced an event that, even to this very day, is still being discussed and studied. The Tunguska event was a powerful explosion that was so massive it was able to knock down close to 80 million trees. Thankfully, the area of impact wasn't heavily populated, if at all. There were no reported human casualties. Researchers led many to believe that the event was caused by the airburst of a meteorized comet fragment in Earth's atmosphere. So it didn't even hit the Earth, it just exploded in the atmosphere and killed 80 million trees. As far as cosmic events go, it's still regarded as one of the most significant in recorded human history, and it's not hard to see why. Looking at the pictures of the event's aftermath, it almost feels like something you'd see in, a Roland Emmerich movie, but it's genuine. Not only did the Tunguska event obliterate 2,000 square kilometers of forest, but also caused seismic shockwaves that were felt literally worldwide. Curiously, when scientists conducted experiments to study the event's aftermath, they discovered no visible impact crater of any kind. This supports the idea that the objects more than likely disintegrated in Earth's atmosphere before what would have been its impact, and still caused this amount of damage. The 1908 Tunguska event still stands as a sobering example of just how important it is for humanity to keep watching the skies. Not that we'll be able to do anything about it, but it would be nice to get some warning before we all die. And you know what? While you're down there in the comments putting an F in chat for, your Neanderthal Homo sapien ancestors, let us know what you'd do if you were given, say, 15 minutes to live. Let's say, a report happens right now. I'm interrupted by the president saying, a meteorite's going to hit Earth in 15 minutes and we're all screwed. What would you do? Let us know. And while you're thinking about that, number 3, the threat of near-Earth objects. Expanding our scope for a moment, let's discuss the threat of near-Earth objects, or NEOs, and what exactly they're capable of. So NEOs include the likes of asteroids and comets that have orbits strong enough to bring them close to the Earth. The threat of these NEOs remains a significant concern for organisations like NASA, who see them as a significant concern for planetary safety. For example, the Shabelinsk meteor event in 2013 serves a prime example of just how dangerous these NEOs can be, and why they warrant constant vigilance. Caused by a powerful airburst over Russia. Why is it always Russia? The event caused a flash on par with the brightness of the sun and caused a shockwave equivalent to 500 kilotons of TNT. Further still, the event proved to be so powerful that it resulted in the injuries of several people and extensive property damage. And this is where you get those amazing Russian dashcam videos of people literally seeing the sky explode before their eyes, and they don't even flinch. They don't even give a shit. It's incredible. And this is just one example of how devastating NEOs can be, and shows why they've become a primary concern for space agencies like NASA. In fact, NASA continues to develop technological innovations and strategies for NEO prevention alongside various international partners. These innovations and strategies include the development of spacecraft and various techniques to change an impending NEO's trajectory should one be detected. Fingers crossed, Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck strap on those spacesuits and attach that and blow up that thing in orbit. Number 2, modern day climate change. So the topic of climate change will never really leave the spotlight, and in all honesty, it never probably should. It's a looming spectre over all of humanity's future. And while some may choose to ignore it or even downplay the effects of climate change, its consequences have become too widespread and too significant to ignore. So, again, just drop us a note in the comments if you happen to live in an area of the States that was perpetually on fire last year. For starters, there's been a global increase in temperatures, resulting in severe mortality rates, reduced productivity, damage to infrastructure, and this is due in part to major excessive releases of greenhouse gases, most notably carbon dioxide, which is often the result of burning fossil fuels, deforestation, and just negligent industrial processes from capitalists who just don't care. These increases in temperature dovetail right into another unfortunate byproduct of climate change, a rise in sea levels, with polar ice caps and glaciers melting at increasingly and alarming speeds. This means that coastal communities are at greater risk of both flooding and erosion, so they're either going to be washed away, that way, or out into the sea. Add to that the risks it prevents to wildlife, as well as underwater ecosystems, and the whole situation becomes exceedingly more dire, unless you're rich. However, this is still an ongoing situation, with many working hard in an attempt to mitigate the effects and even course-correct certain contributing factors. Most notably, the Paris Agreement's main goal is seeking to lessen the impact of climate change, develop strategies for a more sustainable future. Ultimately, you could just do what Elon Musk is planning to do and just F off to Mars and ruin things there for the Martians. Finally, number 1, the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. So when it comes to modern disasters, the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami is still one of the deadliest natural disasters in recorded human history. On December 26, 2004, a massive undersea earthquake with a magnitude of 9.1 to 9.3, I remember like that 0.2 difference is a hell of a lot, began off the west coast of northern Sumatra in Indonesia. The energy of this quake was enough to displace the entire seafloor and generate a series of powerful tsunami waves that radiated outwards across the Indian Ocean. Not long after, coastal communities in 14 separate countries, including Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Thailand and India, were rocked by sizable waves. None of these countries were really prepared to deal with the waves, which in some cases reached heights of upwards of 100 feet, causing widespread devastation along various coastlines. The damage was immense, with entire villages swept away by the waves, resulting in an estimated 230,000 to 280,000 casualties. In addition, not only were millions left displaced or homeless, their homes having literally swept away, but the damage done to local environment and economy was just as severe. The resulting destruction was so widespread and so immense that it prompted a global response for humanitarian aid and disaster relief. It's honestly kind of horrifying to just imagine like your entire life being literally swept away by a disaster of this magnitude. And the idea that such disasters have plagued humanity throughout its history and will likely continue to happen is a sobering thought, to say the least. So we got a little dark towards the end there, but I think it's an important and sobering reminder that we're tenants on Earth, not its landlords. And reminded of the quote of we don't inherit the Earth from our parents, we borrow it from our kids. So it's important to just be aware of the damage that has been done to it by ourselves and mitigate the damage that will be done in the future. So there's that old Greek quote, isn't there, of a society has achieved like its end when old men plant seeds for trees they will never sit in the shade of. Anyway, that's just me waxing philosophical and sniffing my own farts. If you want to see more of that, I've got my own channel, Facting with Karl Smallwood. As noted at the start, this video is based on a script submitted to us by Benjamin Falbo. If you want to see more of their stuff, social media links are below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you've got anything to say about it besides the stuff we've asked for comments on, do so below. And if you want to subscribe to see more videos like this, you can do so by clicking the subscribe button, which, fun fact, doesn't work. Yeah. YouTube. Anyway, thank you for watching, and as always, have the day you all deserve.